Well, distinguished fellow leaders from our neighborhood, Commissioner Kos, dear Marta, colleagues and friends coming from Brussels and the neighborly countries, welcome back to Tirana, the city where faith in Europe runs so high that even an old EU veteran like Eurobarometer can't help blushing like a teenager in love. I'm delighted to see this summit open with a clarity that I was very satisfied to feel just in the arrival of everyone and during the working dinner yesterday. The Western Balkans have chosen to move forward together with a growth plan as our shared roadmap. A roadmap not to Brussels, but to the freedoms and the opportunities of the European single market, where our citizens belong by history, geography, and destiny. Better late than ever, one could say, especially after all those occasions where and when the trains of regional cooperation departed and we stayed on the platform, wrestling with all disputes instead of simply buying a ticket to the future. But let me put it differently, paraphrasing Jean Monnet in a way that fits perfectly with the spirit of our growth plan. Europe is not built by waiting for it. Europe is built by doing. And we are here not to postpone today's work and wait for another time, but to build together what is ours to build today. Declarations and statements matter only when they touch real life. They matter only if they break the distance between policy, language, and daily life. People don't feel integration. They feel lower cost, easier travel, faster borders, better jobs, freedom of movement. So today, let me list some concrete facts. They look like 7 doors opening between the Western Balkans and Europe. Roaming charges between WB6 and EU will end in 2026. Our citizens will feel the next breakthrough directly in their pockets. We removed WB6 internal roaming, we reduced tariffs. Now with the Commission finalizing the legal basis, roam like at home between the Western Balkans and the EU, the end of different roaming system is coming. Negotiations begin early 2026. Albania will complete full acquis enlightenment by April 2026, and we are ready. This will be our next success after SEPA, which already cut transaction costs by 5 to 10 times and made money move as fast as a Balkan gossip. Roaming isn't about phone bills, it's about removing one more artificial border between our people and Europe. Digital identity, our quiet revolution. Soon, digital identity in the Western Balkans will mirror the European model. The commitment we renewed in Skopje, interoperable digital wallets, is not a tech project, it is our entry ticket into a borderless digital Europe. I must tell you with pride that Albania digital identity is ready, and starting from the new year, will spread and will become part of our life. One identity, one access, one digital life crossing the region and increasingly across the EU. And when the EU will start with it 2027, we'll be there waiting for the EU. 3 border crossing points from bottlenecks to engines. We all know the Balkan border experience Sometimes it moves, sometimes it sleeps, sometimes it meditates. But we must end those days. We have agreed with the EU on 16 priority border crossing improvements, including 11 EU Western Balkan crossings and 5 CEFTA crossings. Today, it's the day that with the contribution agreement between the European Commission and the World Bank signed to unlock the finance and the expertise. This means shorter queues, faster tracks, lower logistic costs, higher competitiveness. A track delayed is GDP delayed, a track moving fast is an economy moving fast. This is very, very, very simple. For the Wi-Fi for Western Balkans, Europe's digital infrastructure is in every corner. The Wi-Fi for Western Balkans program is no longer a promise. This is happening. 394 municipalities are selected, 61 in Albania, 114 in Bosnia and Herzegovina, 33 in Kosovo, 24 in Montenegro, 63 in North Macedonia, and 99 in Serbia. The first networks go live this year. From village squares to city centers, from schools to tourist hubs, our citizens will feel Europe every time their phone connects. This is what integration looks when it becomes visible in the daily life of a grandmother in Kukas, or of a student in Pristina, or of a family elsewhere in the region. 5, the reform agenda, 618 steps towards Europe and counting. This region has never attempted reforms in such a scale, never. 618 reform steps adopted under the growth plan, 414 million euro already disbursed, 251 more reforms in progress, 88% of all steps actively implemented. And these reforms touch public finance, rule of law, governance, energy, digital transformation, business climate. We are not closing the convergence gap with just speeches or meetings or what we celebrate, the chapters we open. We are closing it with reforms, tremendously boring on paper, very tiring in life, but absolutely transformative in reality. 6, infrastructure, building Europe's arteries in the Western Balkans, Corridor 8, the spine connecting Albania and North Macedonia, which is now critical even for the security in Europe and has become a NATO security corridor, is being upgraded. 344 million in railway investment, 112 million in new road infrastructure. This is not a line on a map, it's a plug-in cable into Europe's value chains. When Europe relocates supply chains, the Western Balkans must be not spectators, but a destination. And this is what we are doing together. And 7, the Western Balkans, Europe's new investment frontier. For decades, the region was treated as a problem to be managed at its best, or at its worst as a war to be dealt with. Now investors see something very different, a market, a workforce, a geography, and a political alignment with the European Union. Recent investment events say it all. 7 investment declarations, 24 investment pitches, 10 memorandums of understanding between European and Western Balkan companies, 4 sustainable partnerships just in one conference about investments. Behind every number is a job, a salary, a family, a hope. When investment comes, of course, migration will decrease. When economies grow, borders, of course, will matter less. When opportunity grows at home, Europe becomes a destination of cooperation, not an escape route. The Western Balkans are going from risk to opportunity. For years, we were called unstable, unpredictable, too complicated. But the facts today say the opposite. We are proving, with reforms and investments, that the Western Balkans are not Europe's vulnerability, but Europe's opportunity. A young market, a skilled workforce, a strategic location, a region that wants to grow with Europe and not at Europe's expense. We are moving from the margins of the map into the center of our European story, also through the economy. Europe is not something we are waiting for. Europe is something we are building. Everything discussed today leads to a simple truth. The Western Balkans don't ask favors. And this is something one can feel and can hear in every statement of every one of the leaders around the tables. Nobody is looking for favors. Nobody is crying for some sweets. Everyone comes with the pride to offer values and to offer sweat and tears. Thanks God, no blood is needed. We are not begging to enter the European Union. We are proving that we are every day more ready. We are not talking the talk, we are delivering the results. And let me say it even more sharply. In the Western Balkans convergence, Europe becomes stronger. If the Western Balkans stagnate, Europe becomes weaker. There is no version of a stronger Europe with a weak Balkan region in the middle of it. So I want to conclude by telling to our people, we are not working toward Europe with empty hands and let alone like beggars. We are walking with achieved results, with reforms delivered, with investments secured, and with our homework done in every step. And we'll keep pushing until Western Balkans enter the European Union, not as guests, but as contributors to its security, to its economy, to its future, and by no doubt, to its safety. Because everyone knows, but Marta knows better. For your own safety, pick a Balkan guy. And this always works. And for Europe's safety, pick the Balkan guys. We can be Europe's bodyguards, and then Europe will feel much safer and much relaxed in her sleep. Thank you so much. And Marta, the floor is to you, and please confirm or deny what I said about the Balkan bodyguardship.
Thank you, dear Mr. Prime Minister, dear Edi, dear bodyguard. I agree, and it's a pleasure and honor to be here shortly after this year's enlargement package, which has given or brought a new dynamic in the enlargement process. And this is something we are now building on, and yes, you're right. Today it is more than ever about the security, and Europe cannot be secure without Western Balkans. This is a mistake from the past. We have to do it better or correct these days. And I'm happy this kind of meeting we have through the growth plan are opening more and more new doors. You have named 7. Thank you for this, and more will be open, and home of Europe is waiting for you. You already are a part of Europe. We just have to make it institutionally in the sense of you becoming a member of the EU. Today we are here for a stock taking, to see what is going well in the growth plan and where we need to do more. And we are now 2 years into the implementation of the growth plan for the Western Balkans, 2 years out of 4. So this is the half-time, and we need to have a half-time talk. We have quite a lot to celebrate, but at the same time, we need to be honest that 2 out of 6 have not yet started passing reforms. We haven't started with the growth plan implementation. The 2 best performers have passed about 50% of the agreed reforms, and here we see a clear connection between advancing in the accession process and delivering reforms. And in terms of funding released, we are still below 10% of the total amount, which is 1.6 billion euro. 400 million, as you have said, the Edi, of a 6 billion package have been allocated to the region. So we can do and must do better collectively. I would like to use today's discussion to plan for the second half of the growth plan implementation. So where can we do more? Where can we support you better? The European Commission really wants the growth plan to succeed. Recently, I have often talked about the need to enlarge the enlargement, to integrate all our neighbors as soon as possible into more and more EU policy areas, into parts of the single market, into our energy market, into pan-European value chains. And we want to make the European Union a lived reality for your citizens already today. You've been speaking about this, to bring prosperity, security and stability for the entire European continent in the times when we have adversaries from the outside who would like to see us fail. And in some areas, this is already taking shape. Albanians, Montenegrins and Macedonians already benefit from cheaper transaction costs because of SEPA. Yesterday we had a discussion. It is 62 million euro per year in North Macedonia, the benefit savings. Thank you. But our ambition is for all of you to advance in sync, so we do not want any of you to fall behind. And because ultimately all the Western Balkans belong into the European Union as equal members, and I'm stressing with full rights, as recognition for full alignment with EU laws and EU values. So let us focus today on how we can accelerate in the second half. And there is one particularly important deadline coming up. In June, the one-year grace period for unmet reforms from the second reporting round will expire. Almost 300 million euro that are earmarked for your countries are on the line. This is funding that should benefit your citizens. It should build tram lines and roads, schools and hospitals and much more. Let us also discuss how we can further reduce, you were talking also about these roaming rates. Paying extra for cross-border phone calls is something we do no longer do inside the EU, and why should you? For this to happen, we need to work on faster alignment with EU rules. And let us unblock projects to improve transport infrastructure, digital innovation, consumer protection and tourism. Yesterday evening at the dinner we have been talking about this a lot. And this will benefit your businesses and of course also your citizens. We face a lack of progress on regional economic integration. This results in lower economic growth. A full common regional market would boost your economies by 10%. Lack of progress, on the other hand, also risks access to the EU single market for those who block decisions that would benefit all. I know the reforms we have agreed to together are not always easy, but they allow to accelerate EU accession and prepare your economies for the single market, for the market of 450 million people. And they unlock opportunities. They give you access to member state treatment in some EU policies, and they show our member states that you are ready for more and deeper integration into the European Union. And let us talk how our instruments can also attract more foreign investment. The President of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, told me she was very impressed by the 2 investment conferences she attended in the region. And let's continue working on that. Let's together bring more sustainable EU investments and trading partners to the region. And we know from the experiences from the past, the closer we will get to the real enlargement, the more investors are coming. It is crucial to make your economic convergence with EU countries a reality now. We know from the experience that the closer a candidate country gets to the EU accession, you will also get more tourists, more presence in the media of the European Union, and of course, I hope, more curiosity on the side of the citizens of the member states. Let us use the remaining 2 years to make the growth plan a resounding success and prepare the ground for your accession to the EU. Because the main goal of growth plan is helping you developing to be able to become an equal member of the European Union in the future. Thank you, dear Edi, once again for hosting us here. It's always good to come here. And today we are at the growth plan. I'm coming back soon again, discovering some other parts of your country. Thank you for hosting us.
Well, as per usual protocol, thank you to the media. And now I'm starting with my work to invite to take the floor all the leaders presented here, starting from Borjana Christoph from Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Hvala lijepa. Poštovane dame i gospodo, dopustite prije svega na samom početku da pozdravim našeg uvaženog domaćina, premijera Republike Albanije, gospodina Ramu, i da mu se prije svega zahvalim na jačanju naše regionalne suradnje i doprinosu za stabilnost u okviru ove regije i da čestitam naravno na postignutim rezultatima, odnosno napretku kad je u pitanju proces integracija. Želim na poseban način pozdraviti i sve nazočne kolege premijere, kao i povjerenicu za susjedstvo i proširenje, gospođu Martu Kos, i jednako tako i direktorata za susjedstvo i proširenje, gospodina Kopmana, sve nazočne međunarodne i financijske institucije i organizacije, kao i sve suradnike. Dopustite također da prije svega preko povjerenice iskažem zahvalnost svim zemljama članicama Europske unije na prihvaćanju reformske agende kad je u pitanju Bosna i Hercegovina. Ovo je jedan važan korak, ja bih rekla iskorak, priznanjima i naporima koje zapravo činimo zajedno. Naš današnji summit donosi nam neke nove teme, kao i evo osvrt po već dosadašnjim inicijativama i temama, i sve su one naravno jednako važne, s tim da ove nove inicijative i teme na još jedan dodatan način zapravo potvrđuju našu opredjeljenost i predanost progresu i jačanju regionalne suradnje, digitalne infrastrukture, povezanosti, kao i našu stvarnu zapravo želju da kreiramo jedno poticajno okruženje za razvoj gospodarstva, kako u zemljama regije, naravno, tako i u Europskoj uniji. Što se tiče postojećih inicijativa, ja ću se osvrnuti na njihovu provedbu, zapravo uz prepoznavanje i onih područja koja zapravo zahtijevaju jednu dodatnu institucionalnu, rekla bih i tehničku i političku pažnju s naše strane, evo kako bi se osigurala ta njihova potpuna i pravovremena realizacija. Vezano za nove inicijative, kad je u pitanju inicijativa roaming, telefonirajte kao kod kuće, ovim putem pozdravljam i iskazujem zahvalnost Europskoj uniji koja nam je zapravo ponudila novu mapu puta za Zapadni Balkan kada je u pitanju roaming između zemalja regije i Europske unije, nakon što smo uspješno implementirali roaming unutar VB6. Što se tiče zapravo konkretnih stvari, pred nama sada stoji obveza usklađivanja domaćeg zakonodavstva sa EU roaming acquis-em. Uvjereni smo da ćemo u ovom procesu pristupiti odgovorno, predano i zapravo u duhu ispunjavanja svih naših europskih obveza. Smatram kako je nužno da ubrzamo dinamiku mape puta, kako bi naravno telekom operateri u Bosni i Hercegovini i naravno zemljama regije mogli čim prije krenuti sa realizacijom smanjenja cijena roaminga. Kad je u pitanju inicijativa Industrijski dijalog VB6, on je još u fazi, koliko sam shvatila, idejne razrade i tu nemamo puno toga na uvid što bi sve obuhvaćala ova inicijativa, ali saznanja koja imamo upućuju nas na to kako bi sa ovom inicijativom se otvorio prostor za veći izvoz, nova radna mjesta, stabilnost, gospodarski rast, što bi zapravo u konačnici i dovelo do